speak tonight as a Fort Worth ISD taxpayer and parent of several young children to tell you about a tragedy that happened to 5 kids at a Fort Worth ISD schoolyard and to say thanks. On March 30th, my husband and my 3 sons and a friend and his 2 sons were standing on the schoolyard between Monig Middle School and Mary Louise Phillips Elementary. An out-of-control SUV, fleeing a hit-and-run accident a few blocks away, crashed through the fence and onto the field at a high rate of speed. 5 kids were in the way. 3 boys avoided being hit by the truck, but not by the tragedy. 2 were hit. My oldest was struck by the truck. My youngest son was run over. A friend chased down the driver who had fled the scene. My husband ran to my son, who was underneath the SUV. I hope none of you ever have to scoop up your child's limp body from under a truck as my husband did. But by the grace of God, his life was saved. 3 months later, my son is still recovering physically, and several of the boys are still recovering emotionally. There was no fairness about this tragedy, and I know, quote, it gets better, but cliches don't comfort in the valley of the shadow of death. But there was a rainbow of love and truth. It was up in the sky, a promise that God was near, and it was especially meaningful to my son, who stood shocked, having watched his 2 brothers get hit. You see, his name is Noah. I mention this story today to say thanks. I know 86,000 students are exposed to the risk of this type of tragedy every day at Fort Worth ISD schools. Yet I want to thank you for exercising common sense, especially Superintendent, for not unilaterally issuing guidelines that would affect all the thousands of kids on Fort Worth ISD schoolyards from this type of harm or these type of tragedies. I've considered proposing a policy for the district to stop allowing kids to play outside, or even suggesting a mandate for teachers to stop referring to outside play as an option. As you'd expect, I would get some pushback. However, I wouldn't call those opposed to these policies uneducated or lunatics or bigots or hateful. Furthermore, I could even sue the district for allowing this senseless tragedy to occur to my children, but I don't plan to. However, even in the face of a potential lawsuit, no one has legislated this playground agenda. So again, I thank you for using common sense. Finally, I need to ask for your help. A teacher or administrator from Monig ran out to assist my husband in our time of crisis. He was tending to my son while talking to 911, and it was too much, and the gracious woman took his phone and handled the call so that he could focus on our child. He did not get her name, but I would like to thank her personally. I'm hoping that someone here can help me find her. And then I realized that this is how we handle most tragedies in the ISD. Not with new, overreaching policies issued by a superintendent, but by the heroic efforts of all of our teachers and administrators here in the district. Thank you.